have positions in government because um, there is this grift thing that was able to be publicized during COVID, where uh, people in Congress are exempted from inside trading, even though they get non-public information. So
Right.
good luck. It's just too much financial chaos to know who's making the other side of the trade. Hypothetically, you would need somebody who wants to be a kind of like a regulator. And the last thing I see right now is the SEC following through on its investigation of more than 2 years ago, Elon taking an illegal stake undisclosed in Twitter before he then made the offer to buy it. It was a suit that the SEC announced just maybe weeks before the end of the year last year. It's going to go nowhere. We know that.
Yep.
So, um, uh, be careful out there, guys. That's all I'll say.
Yeah. No, it's good. Thanks, David. All right, let's do this. Let's go to Reverend Scott Jones, and then we're going to go to Steve Appel. Hopefully, he'll be off the phone. He can give us a Southern California report. Dr. Francine L., and then we'll get to David and Victoria. Hang on, David and Victoria. Don't go anywhere. All right. What did I say? I think it was Scott Jones.
Ben, again, well, happy club anniversary. This is, yeah. Thank you for all the work you do here and keeping this band of brothers and sisters together. It's amazing. I'm thinking about the imprecatory Psalms today. Psalm 58, Psalm 56, Psalm 109, Psalm 137, all from the Hebrew Bible. Just to put these
Okay,
in
explain that.
there are Psalms where you ask God to intervene and destroy the wicked. So when you look at Elon
Okay.
Musk and you look at Donald Trump, you can ask, open Psalm 58 and ask God to, it's in the Bible. You can say, God,
There you
please
go.
destroy the wicked. Psalm 56 actually asked the psalmist to destroy the enemy's teeth and fangs. These are great things. They used to be in the Old English prayer book, but they took them out. But they're great, so it's in the Bible. I think you can pray them. And, even if somebody
Hey, I
cuts you
like
off,
it.
even if somebody cuts you off in traffic or screws you over, on a personal level, you can use them for politics, personal stuff. They're great. Imprecatory Psalms. And it's great to be here. And yeah, let's fight the good fight.
All right, thanks, Scott. You do always bring in a whole new dimension to the discussion, so I
Those
appreciate it.
passages were probably removed from the Trump Bible, so I hope you don't have
That's
one of
true.
those.
That's true. Just ripped out. All right, let's go. Steve, are you available for the Southern California report? Or are you on the phone? It's a long phone call, Steve. All right, we can get. Are you there? No, we'll get back to Steve. Francine, you're
Yes,
up.
well, what I wanted was to find out from Steve what this thing about the water means, because I guess Trump ordered a whole bunch of water released from
Yeah.
Northern California to to help Southern California fight fires, but it's the wrong water, or
No,
it's the
there's no
wrong
way to get it from
pipes.
there
There's
to
no,
there.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
It can't get it from here to there, so it's going to be totally wasted.
Yeah, well, it's not only wasted. I think I mentioned it before, but the those reserves of water are meant to water the plants in the Central Valley when there's a drought in the summer, which there always is, and they need that. And if they let that go and it goes back into the soil, it disappears. Come July August, their crops are going to get burned and so this is
Wow,
actually very detrimental. The,
wow,
the,
that's
yeah,
that's what I wanted to know.
yeah, the farmers are very upset. Everybody's upset because it's very clearly a stunt. There is nobody in California who thinks this is anything but a stunt to appease the dictator. It doesn't do anything, and it just causes a whole bunch of problems. And this is what it's going to be, one thing after another. All he really wants is the press release. I mean that's actually the only thing that may at some point diminish some of the pain is the fact that once he gets the press release, he doesn't necessarily need to go any further. Although, in the case of prosecuting the J6 prosecutors, I think he really enjoys the pain that he gives. So it's the press release, and then the extra added attraction is the sadistic pain he can induce on innocent people. He's such a horrible human being. Steve, are you available, or are you on a permanent phone call? Steve's on a permanent phone call. Let's go to L. L, are you up? Are you around? Do you want to add to the conversation? Do you want to come back later?
I'm sorry. I'm going through five different screens at the same time. Good morning, everybody. No, I'm happy to be here. Again, happy clubversary. You
Yep.
have absolutely made an impact, which is something to be proud of, I think. How do you feel about it?
Wait, say again. An impact. What? Say again.
I said that you have clearly made an impact, and I was just asking how you feel about this 4 year mark of having made the impact you've made on this app.
Uh, well, no. First of all, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm not that great at taking compliments, but no, I'm glad that I was able to turn, lemon into lemonade, as they say, because my whole interaction with dog walking Gray was very distasteful for me. It really bothered me, and I'm happy that I was able to turn that around and I think in a constructive way. So, and because look, we're all pretty much the core of us are the same audience, and as dysfunctional as this platform is, it provides a service that you really can't get anywhere else, and it's I really appreciate everybody here, and thank you. I do. I hadn't intended to do a room. I just thought I would be too lazy to do it. But it's put a little structure in my daily life, so it's a good thing all around.
Right. Well, thanks for everything that you do. I also want to just a shout out thank you to everybody in this room who was so supportive and helpful yesterday on helping me be able to return to interacting with all of you. So, a lot of gratitude to all of you who know me well and really put out a lot of effort and energy to make it happen. So, that's that. Really
Hmm.
want to encourage you to click on the link above. I had to start watching my New York Times. I'm somebody who still likes the New York Times.
Yeah,
But I realized that like last month I had gone through my 10 gift articles, free gift articles in like by January 4th. And so, because I was pinning them to the top of this room all the time.
yeah.
Um, this one I really, really encourage you to listen to. This is Ezra Klein. You can hit play and listen to it, or you can read it. I listened to it last night, and he's really making some important points. And I'm speaking to kind of something a little bit different right now, but I think it's important, which is this whole strategy that is kind of being referred to as being, being overwhelmed, the way that we are being overwhelmed with information and with traumatic, you know, traumatic
Hmm.
changes that some of them don't hold any water, many of them he's not serious about, some of them he might be, we don't know the ramifications, but what they're talking about, and I just want to share a couple of things from this. This is something from 2019, Steve Bannon talking about the media, saying the opposition party is the media. All we have to do is flood the media. Every time we hit them with three things, they'll bite on one and we'll get all our stuff done. Bang, bang, bang. These guys will never be able to recover, but we've got to start. We need muscle velocity. So it's got to start, it's got to hammer. Okay. So he's saying focus is the fundamental substance of democracy. People learn that what the government is doing through the media, be it mainstream or social. If you overwhelm people, you keep moving from one thing to the next. It's hard to even think coherently, which I think is something that a lot of us are experiencing, this overwhelm, fatigue, almost inability to function because so much traumatic shit is being spewed and thrown out all of the time. And then he goes on to talk about the fact that all of these executive decisions, and he's talking about why he's doing those rather than putting things through Congress. Well, there's a reason for that, because if he just says something is true, it makes it appear more likely that it's true. So he's really speaking about perception, and he talks about how what Trump has wanted to be is a king, and that if we believe he's
Yeah.
already king, and if we believe these things are really happening, then he will be much more likely to let him govern as king. So, sort of the purpose of the goal of autocracy is to make us passive, make us freak out, make us get triggered, force us to just say, this is too much. I don't even know which way to look. I don't even know which thing to focus on. So it goes on to really talk about that. And it just shares a lot of things that I think are really important notice right now, because part of the resistance is understanding what their strategy is and not allowing ourselves to get prematurely triggered while still staying vigilant. So that's what I wanted to point out. I hope everybody is staying sane. I learned a word yesterday that I hadn't heard before, which was the word sane washing.
Yeah.
This part, yeah, this, I guess it goes back to 2020. It came up first during Black Lives Matter. But the point is that we're getting just inundated with so much stuff, and inevitably, either it's something that might affect us personally, or it will absolutely, definitely, unless you're living a completely isolated life, it's going to affect people you know and love. Depending on whether your world is just your family or whether your world is the whole world, we're going to be affected. And for anyone who is walking around with a heart that's beating, it's going to upset you. And for anyone who wants this to change, it's at least the way I experience is, oh my God, what do we do? What do we do? So I'm really compiling a lot of sources of very smart people who understand some of this and who are advising ways to stay sane right now, to stay in a peaceful place, to continue to be in our lives and to focus on what's important in our lives and in our own purpose, while at the same time trying to be active where we can in trying to resist this. And hopefully, what's going to happen is that there's so many millions of us that are, I'm thinking of our friend Denise's word, I can't ever say it, gamillions and millions of us who feel the same way. I think we're starting to get over the shock and awe. Um, those of you who read Naomi Klein know the playbook, that's what this is. But the resistance is also
El, your
always,
mic. El, your mic. You have to
sorry,
fix your mic,
better,
El.
better, better.
No,
Yeah, it's
no,
better now.
Yeah, I think it's better now. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just saying this
not
is,
really, but go ahead.
oh,
Yeah.
it's
It's
not?
scratchy.
Oh, I don't know why. How strange. I was just saying it's
That's better.
shock and awe. It's shock and awe for those of you who know Naomi Klein's work. And I think we are starting to get past the shock and awe so we can start to organize. And that's great. I mean, it's only been, what, a month? So, the world hasn't ended.
Yeah.
It's not all over. I think we're going to, start to go in a positive direction. I feel hopeful. I really do. I'm starting to feel hopeful because I'm starting to understand what their strategy is, how to protect myself against it, and then how to actually really create something better out of it. I mean, I had a great talk with Andrew this weekend when all of the Canadian tariff stuff was going on. And because of who Andrew is, a really kind, thoughtful person, part of what he immediately shared with me was the way in which the provinces in Canada were working together and uniting and finding creative ways to respond. I think that we and those all over the country who are with us are going to start to move into that posture. So I'm hopeful right now. Thanks.
All right. Thanks. Al. Lots to unpack there. And thanks for when I have a windy mic, definitely mention it because I do have a fan on. And I can turn it off, so which I did. Thank you, Moose. We got some new people up here. Our good friend Denise, and also our friend Moose, who we had a little back and forth a couple weeks ago. But Moose and I had a really good talk. A little direct contact, and learned about him. And actually, let's go to Moose because I think there are other people on the stage who don't necessarily know about you and where you come from. And you don't have to be that specific. I know people are weird about personal stuff, but I thought you had a compelling story and in why you think you fit into the group. So why don't we start there? So here is Moose. And Moose, I usually just real quick. I usually I look askance at when people use names that the made up names and stuff. But Moose is actually close to its real name, so it actually I appreciate him telling me that. But go ahead, Moose.
Yeah, thank you, Ben. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Yeah, Moose is just a nickname where I grew up in Jersey. For my last name, my folks are immigrants from Egypt, and
Moose.
Assad, Scotty. Um, yeah, so kids growing up couldn't pronounce the last name, so they just chopped it into Moose. And it stuck. I have adult friends who kind of only know me by that on the
Well,
regular, which is
it really is your name. I mean, this is what you go by in real life, so it makes
there
sense.
you go. Right, that's right. It's not just my clubhouse alias.
Yeah.
um, yeah, I wanted to say it has been a lot, like Ella was saying, and I saw Dark's comment in chat. It's easy to start going down the losing hope slippery slope. Um, and I just think it's important that we keep showing up for these rooms and, um, showing up in real life for friends, family, reaching out. I've actually found myself reaching out to folks, friends that I haven't really connected with, or friends that close with, and reached out to a buddy in Austria yesterday.
Mm,
I've known him for over
yeah.
25 years, and I know I think it's about community and realizing we're not alone. And although it feels like sanity, I like that expression, Al, sane washing. Like we're being gaslit by our own country. Like Gary had a room yesterday. Should the FBI guys that were fired that investigated Trump be terminated? Um, and unequivocally, I say, of course they should not. That was a blatant retaliation because they were disloyal to the emperor. I mean, these are things that we would criticize China and Russia for, and it's here it is. I mean, it's like this. It's just he is just out. He is just so angry, and just wants to cause as much chaos as possible. And he fires the investigators who had the audacity for doing their job and investigating when enough evidence presented, and warranted such investigation. So, um, yeah, keep the seatbelts on, folks. Captain definitely has not turned off the seatbelt sign, but don't give up. Please do not give up hope. I mean, honestly, as corny as it says, that which does not kill us makes us stronger, right?
Yep.
So this is just a great opportunity for us, I think, to really, meditate, go for a walk, go to the gym, keep talking to folks, keep talking to each other. Um, and this too shall pass. Sometimes we have to go through pain points to get um, to, to build this together stronger. Although I know it does not feel like we are, and the country is just divided. I mean, I'll finish with this, Ben. I think if I'm not mistaken, not only did he throw DEI under the bus for that terrible DC crash, but I think
Hmm.
when asked if he was going to go visit the crash site,
Oh God.
it's hard. I think he actually
Yeah, he
said,
made a joke.
"What do you want me to do? Swim?" Like,
Yeah.
how grotesquely disrespectful is that to the victims and the victims' families? So stay strong, folks. Keep your heads up. And just thanks for the opportunity, Ben.
All right. Thanks, Moose. Really love having you up here. That was great. All right, let's do let's why don't we do Denise and then David and then Victoria. And then we'll get if is what's his name still here? No, I think Scott he left. Okay. Denise and then David and Victoria. Denise, how you
Good
feeling today?
morning. Good morning. Good morning. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, yeah. You're loud
Okay,
and
good.
clear.
I'm sitting at a lovely little cafe in Tulum, Mexico, and
Ooh.
I have a spot of delicious good news for this room. Because I
Ooh.
know good news is in rare supply these days.
Yeah.
So I've been looking at the kind of attack on the Department of Education and the effort to defund and to eliminate the Department of Education.
Yep.
And I want to share a little story of what's happened in Texas. So, Greg Abbott obviously has been really pushing this idea of school vouchers and privatizing school as much as possible. And he's been stopped. And he hasn't been stopped by Democrats, he's been stopped by Republicans. The
Mm.
legislature in the state of Texas is Republican. And who
Yeah.
who stopped him was, rural communities who literally don't even have a private school in their community. Like there isn't even an option for a
Right.
private school to stand. They stood up to him and they said, well, no, like if you do this, you rob the state coffers of resources and we don't have any alternative. Like you have to support the entire education base. You can't just reroute money to private schools rather in the state. And I share that because, and I'm taking a lot of encouragement from that, and it really it's educating me around the importance of really, even if it feels difficult, even if it feels complicated, trying to find the places that we do have alignment, especially with rural or low income Republican base, and really try to amplify that. I don't think that Louisiana, Kentucky, Mississippi, Alabama, West Virginia, they cannot pay for education. They've never
Right.
paid for education. So I think this idea of like pointing out these things to them and recruiting them to stop these efforts rather than than kind of like attacking him for doing them and saying, oh my gosh, it's terrible that he's doing this. I think there's an opportunity to say, what does this actually mean to you? I mean, getting rid of the Department of Education, you know how many people in America have autism? You think all those people are minorities? I don't think so. I think there's an awful lot of
Right.
people that need disability services, that need accommodation for their children. What are we doing, I guess, to kind of activate those people to stop this? I think, I always say, like, if you say you love America, you have to love Americans. And we've got to find a way to find the common problems and activate people who can leverage themselves around those common problems. It's happened here in the reddest of states, and
Hmm.
it's possible it can happen across the nation.
It's interesting. I love that idea, Denise. Yeah, we do need to look because there are some. Look, I never thought that there could possibly be anybody who voted for Obama who could also vote for Trump. I just didn't think that existed until it did. And so, but it goes both ways. There are things that I think we can, where there are certain constituencies, like the rural constituency, where really an important issue does cross over. I think it's a really good point. We need to keep our minds open. That's sort of what we do as liberals, right? We're supposed to be open minded. Anyway, thanks for that, Denise. We're down to a half hour, so everything in the last half hour is considered closing comments, pearls of wisdom. But feel free to go ahead and give us what you've been thinking about. So, David Garcia, go for it. You got the platform. You got the floor.
Yeah. Hey guys, thanks. Thanks for the room. I know everybody. Those L talking about fatigue and yeah, I mean, it's daunting every time. I mean, as informed conversant, educated, caring about the world, not just the world, our country, and the import of what this tangerine tyrant is doing. It's painful. It really is. Especially those in here who see the history of our country and how it's devolved to this guy for a lot of lies and for a lot of misrepresentation of what he was going to do when he got to the Oval Office. To follow up on Denise's arguments and points, yeah, rural America, I grew up in kind of a rural part of California. The high school, the educational institutions were the bulwark of the community. Sporting events, bringing the community together. Texas, all that money funds those programs, and they care whole lot about football and community. And yeah, there's no private donors backstopping all that, unless Elon Musk wants to start cutting checks. That's a whole nother discussion about
Right.
the hijacking of the alleged or whatever they're doing, hijacking of our treasury, which we should all be very fearful of, because as we've alluded to in the room, I mean, it's one thing to be a 200, 500 billionaire. It's a whole nother magnitude of control and power when you're controlling a $20 trillion economy. So therein lies I think the carrot that motivates a guy like Musk and Trump and his acolytes to privatize our country in a way that they would all enrich themselves off of, which remains to be seen how that would be played out. And I've got to call out my Democratic representatives who aren't screaming louder, because we can write letters and make calls.
Yep.
I live in California, and obviously mostly Democratic here, but our representative government is either going to be able to flex itself against these overtures or it's not. And I think if we just lay down, I mean, we're seeing the media capitulate, we're seeing social media capitulate, and I just don't know, Ben. It's exhausting. It's like,
Totally.
yeah. So I just, keep hope alive to champion Barack Obama's campaign, but it's tough. I mean, it's and then traveling. I mean, Ben, you're in Africa. You come across, you're gonna. How do you explain to our fellow African citizens of the world what we're doing? I mean, I don't want to travel anymore because every conversation, because they understand and they know what we do over here. They know our politics sometimes better than we do.
Yeah.
And I've had my share of horrible arguments and discussions about our failings as a great nation, and I think we're headed for another 4 years of that. Thank you, Ben. I'll land there. Keep hope alive, and enjoy the listening here and the great comments. So thank you.
Great. Thanks, David. Really appreciate it. Okay, where am I? I'm looking at the thing here. We've got Cindy's back, so I want to definitely go to Cindy. Let's go to Victoria, Cindy, and then we'll go up the page. Victoria, you've been pretty active in the chat room. Why don't you tell us what's on your mind?
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it. It's too upsetting.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
my husband doesn't like it. I need to focus on my work. So I don't know. Did anyone guess earlier that that was the male version of me in my PTR?
We didn't realize it, but yeah, I realize it now.
Anyway,
Okay.
just having fun with
I thought maybe it was Greg,
technology.
Victoria. I thought maybe it was
Sorry.
I thought maybe it was a picture of Greg, but it didn't make sense that he would let you do that.
Yeah. No, anyway, the technology is fun and interesting. And if we want to talk about trans, I was glad that Lady Gaga said something. And, um, that
Hmm.
the Grammys, and someone else said how the diversity of the people and the talent, that's the stuff that makes our culture and our country so rich. Um, and
Sure.
this administration wants to just take cracks at that, and it's so sad. But art will live on, So there you go.
Yep, I love it. All right, let's go to Cindy, and then Dr. James is in the room now. We'll go to Dr. James after that. Cindy, closing comments,
Hey
pearls of
everyone.
wisdom. Hey.
I've got no pearls. I've only got, paste. But what my thoughts were when Elle talked about that piece written by Steve Bannon about, just flooding the airways with garbage.
Yeah.
That was exactly the thought that I had this morning. I thought they're throwing so much and doing what they can and then stepping back where they can't. And I feel like that's what it's all about. It's like keep us in the whirlwind so we can't stop and get our focus and pick a direction. And I feel like what we all need to do is pick a direction. Like I know for myself, I sent out a list of Republican representatives' phone numbers. It's like I can make phone calls, I can do that. But it's a day to day, one foot in front of the other. I can't tell you the stress level of everyone that I talk to, the trickle down effect of these choices. For instance, a friend of mine lost her job. Okay, that means her babysitter is losing money because the babysitter won't be needed until she gets another job. And it's that trickle down effect that everyone is feeling most directly. And I'm getting calls from people in Europe, and everyone universally is worried and scared. But we all just have to keep our mental health intact, one foot in front of the other, be happy for the little victories, for the little accomplishments, and not get, bogged down in the mire. And again, I say it every day. I'm so grateful for this room.
Mm. Thanks, Cindy. And we
God
are
bless you,
grateful for you.
Cindy Cruz.
Yes. It wouldn't be the same without you. We love you, Cindy. Okay, where are we? Dr. James. Are you ready? Do you have something to enlighten us with?
No enlightenment today. I just wanted to say good morning, and I'm here and I'm listening.
Okay. That helps. That's good. Oh my goodness! Look, I totally didn't look up above. Andrea, you've been sitting there. Let's-
Quietly,
Jesus,
a
he's so
shocker.
quiet. Why don't you give us
This is not a time to be quiet.
exactly?
Get
Speak up, young
loud.
lady.
Get loud. uh, slowly in the middle of losing my mind slowly and trying not to,
Yeah.
and trying to get focused. No, I just some silver linings I see. It's regardless of where you stand on liking or not liking AOC. I think it's been amazing to see her grow into a savvy elected official who truly does feel like she works for her constituents. And
Hmm.
also, regardless of whether you agree with everything she does, she does very well is hop on Instagram and educate uh, her constituency on her job, what she's doing. She doesn't speak down to anyone. It's just, it was really great to listen to her. And I think that she is providing, very frontline, real inside, baseball type information. And her calls to action were exactly as Cindy said, don't, pick your lane, educate which issue matters most to you, pay attention to when there's a big collective need for action, uh, and try to help with that, but pick your lane and then know the heads of committees in Congress. The phone calls matter, they tally them. The phone call can be impactful. And right now we have to just, lean into whatever power we have and focus on that. But she did also emphasize that right now, the Dems, they don't have the power to bring legislation to the floor. The committee leads often decide this, and so they're doing what they can. But we have to remember, it is like they are not in they're not in the driver's seat right now,
Yeah.
and that's why ever more important is civil society and civic citizen action, because we have to remember there's only 2 million roughly people in the vote between Trump winning and Kamala winning, in the popular vote anyway. And so we just can't give up hope. And then I really want to lean into whoever else mentioned the Grammys. I'm fully on board with the artists and the musicians being the guiding light at this moment, to give you a break or let you feel an issue differently, or kind of break the doom cycle, um, and try to really unite people, or also stand up for uplifting communities that are getting excluded right now. So I was very inspired by the artistry. And of course, I'll land on the satire, which is a key antidote in the fight against fascism, artistry and satire, because it helps minimize the scariness and the power behind the autocrat,
Yep.
and gives you something to laugh at and feel empowered or not so bullied. And so support those people, and anything else that makes you feel some joy. Because if you can't find any space for a little bit of personal joy or peace, or just not spinning out, then it's like putting your oxygen mask on first. You can't really be in the game in whatever capacity without you know, having a bit of space for your own mental health. So, thanks.
Thanks, Andrea. I
Can I
agree.
mention one thing because I'm about to get on the train?
Yeah,
So
sure.
I'm
And then
gonna
we're
I'm
going to
gonna
go
be
to
out
Elle.
of
Elle
out of,
had
out of
breaking
here.
news, but go ahead.
Okay, sorry, El. Super quick. My only like pearls of wisdom is I know a lot of you probably already do, but make sure on Facebook follow Heather Cox Richardson.
Oh,
She
she's great.
reports every single day, very lengthy, about what is going on in America day to day with also historical context. It is so crucial and it helps ground you to put everything in perspective and to understand what is actually going on. My train's coming. I'm done speaking. God bless
All
everyone.
right. Thanks, Scotty. Have a great day.
And I cannot punctuate that enough. She's fantastic. She's my first read every morning.
Mm.
She's absolutely fantastic. I urge everybody to follow her. You know, you can go onto Substack and you can follow anybody without having to have a paid subscription. Now, there are some people who, have been writing on there for 10 years who do have paid subscribers, and some of those have paywalls. She has not put a paywall because what she's doing right now is so critical for us to read. So
And
yeah,
she's also on YouTube. You can get her on
yeah,
YouTube for free.
yeah, she's fantastic. I also want to mention that last night I listened to a live feed on Instagram by AOC that was fantastic, and she, as she does in her absolutely inimitably real and vulnerable and accessible way, she broke down for us what's going on and talked about the way that we are being zapped with all of this overflow of information and what's real and what isn't. And it was really helpful. So I'm going to put her Instagram, I will add that feed into the
And
chat.
also, don't forget to do this breaking news that you just posted about the unions.
Right. Yeah, actually, David sent that. Whoops, sorry.
Okay.
David sent that to me, and then I opened it up. So let me just. This app is not working for me right now. Sorry.
Well, look, the basic thing, I haven't read the whole thing either, but the basic thing is the unions are finally coming up and defending the people who are losing or being attacked and losing their jobs, because this is a total union issue. This is blatantly illegal according to procedure, and they should be able to stop it, not just complain about it. They need to have a structure that just says this has to stop within the next 2 hours, and there needs to be a judge behind it. But the unions need to. I don't know exactly what it says in the article, but that's the gist of it, I guess. Al, is that what you took out of it?
Yeah. Am I off mic right
Yeah.
now?
No, you're
Sorry.
on mic.
Yeah. I'm trying to. Sorry. There we go. I was trying to put the link up there for all of you.
Okay.
Um, So yeah, nope, it didn't do it. Okay, hold on one second. I can do this. Hold on. I can multitask without any coffee.
While you're multitasking, Al, can I share that the ACLU, for those of you who are interested in that organization, is having some webinar um, coming up. I'll try to find the link about what's going on right now from the
Uh-huh.
vis-a-vis civil and human rights. So I'll post
You
that.
know, you know what else, Andrea, is it would be great for you to share what you shared with us, some of us, from the sociologist who broke down how to respond to this sort of, barrage that we're experiencing. Do you know who I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
there's been so much sharing. It's been like almost, it's been 24/7 for about a week now. And I'm trying to remember which share you're
All
talking
right.
about.
Well, I will go back and find it, but the one that we're talking about right now it was just breaking news that unions sue to block Musk's team's access to treasury payments. So I think this
Okay.
is
Okay.
important. So the complaint accuses the administration of illegally granting Musk team's access in violation of federal laws. So I don't want to replace Andrea's link at the top of the room, so I'm going to put this into the
Oh
chat.
no, or you can now.
Okay.
I can put that in the chat.
All right, I'll go ahead and do it because I was trying to do that while we were talking, and it was making it impossible to do three things at once. There we
This is true. We only have two arms. All right, let's go to. I'm like looking down here. Francine, closing comments, pearls of wisdom. Dr. Francine, are you home? Are you in the house? Dr. Francine, hey! Going once, going
I'm going to
twice.
speak for Francine. Ben, Francine has the flu, so we all need to
Oh, okay.
put out lots of love energy toward Dr. Francine that she recovers quickly from this stuff because this kind of flu gunk that's going around is not an easy thing for a lot of people. So kudos, Dr. Francine, if you're still
It's
listening, for being
it,
in the room this morning, feeling
it's
sick.
not fun.
No,
It's
I know,
definitely
honey.
not fun. I
Yeah.
coughed all night long last night. It's so much fun.
Good.
Oh, geez, that's not good.
Which one do
Yeah.
you have? Does it even matter? It's like, do you have the four combined or one or the other?
I don't know. I have the influenza A, I think. I looked it up, and from
Are
my
you drink?
symptoms, that's
Are
what
you
I
drink?
have.
When did you take your last sip of water?
Um, about 5 minutes ago.
It's time.
Ben, Brian's trying to get in with the last comment. I don't know if you.
Yeah, no, I did see that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do Brian and then Rick and then Denise. If you got, I am certain you've got a closing comment, pearls of wisdom, and then we'll call it a day. All right, so Brian, then Rick, then Denise, and then we'll shove off. Brian, go for it.
Yeah, I just listening to everyone and my comment or pearl of wisdom or whatnot. Um, remind two things. One, I can't remember which one of his books, but uh, former President Obama, I believe, when he was a senator, I read one of them, and he said something that striking a chord here, where it seems we're in doubt and we have equal parts doubt and anxiety and frustration. And this one line has stuck with me, and he said the presence of faith does not mean the absence of doubt. So, I choose to, hey, listen, I've got frustrations and doubts, but I'm going to try to lean into my faith and turn that into actions. And then the second thing is that, for me, I've shared with some, and I'm pretty unfiltered on my mental health journey, and mental health is important. And you, you can't pour from an empty cup. So I encourage everyone, take some time for yourself. I mean, disconnect for whatever amount of time that is good for you, because this is gonna what we're. It feels like we're already a year into it, and it's only been a couple of weeks. We've got nearly 4 more years of this. So take some time, uh, go walk the earth, smell some flowers, catch a movie, something. But just I really encourage that and detox from the news and everything for a bit of time. That's what I've done, and I get my news from you guys. That's it.
Gang, thanks so much, Brian. Appreciate it. And this is a positive comment. We need more of those. Okay, Rick. Rick from Oxnard, King of Oxnard. Why don't you tell us, give us
Well,
your
you
take?
know, obviously, we are going to, for the foreseeable future, have the tendency to doom scroll. It's really easy to do. It's like one outrage after the other. I think this is part of their strategy is to overwhelm us into inaction. And we can't be fooled by it. And we can't be, you know, getting triggered. Yeah, we're all triggered. But you have to turn that trigger into something constructive. And so every single day, I one of the first things I do when I get up in the morning is I say, this is what I'm going to do today. And it's little things, two or three things, but there are two or three things that might take an hour or an hour and a half. That's that's nothing. We spend that on here every single morning, um, and it's not much time. So one of the things that I found was in the trickle down privatization, which is happening even here in liberal California. We have a performing arts center that was built by the city and run by the city for many years. The city had bad government for about a 10-year period. And this thing fell into disrepair. And they made a deal a few years ago with two organizations, a nonprofit and a club that has it's a I guess a promoter that has two or three clubs in the LA area to run it for the Performing Arts Center. Well, there's now a movement to completely privatize it and take the nonprofit out of the picture. The nonprofit has been a really good check and balance on the for-profit promoter. And so there's going to be a city hall meeting on the 18th, and you know, we can show up to that, and we can get this deal remade so the nonprofit stays a part of it, because they showed me the numbers and they're doing well. Um, they're bringing in money for the city, they're paying for the operations, and even while doing things like um, Martin Luther King Day, there's annually for the last 20 years have been a Martin Luther King Day celebration that's donated by the nonprofit to the NAACP and the Martin Luther King Foundation. And that could very easily go away if it goes completely private, because they are the ones that advocate for it. And these are the kinds of things that we have to do. And I only have to convince two people to let this contract renew instead of disbanding the contract. If I want to go to Congress, I have to convince a whole lot more than two people. And so these are the little things that we can do that, number one, will inspire us to keep going. And number two, to give us a real world example of how difficult it is to get even little things done, and how it takes action. It takes people doing things. School boards, critically important right now. If you have children, go to your school board meetings. Um, and they can be boring as hell,
They can be contentious. They can be scary sometimes. But go. It's really important. If we don't do it, they have people there. They have people there. They are organized to do these kinds of things. And we have to get off the doom scrolling and into the do something. And that's it. So, do something, one or two things every single day. Make sure you do that because number one, it'll help you keep your sanity. Number two, it actually does good.
Okay, thanks, Rick. That was good. Appreciate it. All right, we've hit the end of the show. It's time for Denise. You get the closing comment, pearl of wisdom.
Ooh, the closing comment. I feel the
I
pressure.
know.
Um, I did something yesterday, very intentionally. I did something where I really tried to lean into young people, two in person and one actually on this app. Just trying to listen to them deeply, listen to their ideas, try to support them. I think that we are all kind of experiencing our own reaction to the things that are happening, but I think we all could take a little bit of responsibility for helping young people process what's happening and reminding them that solutions are possible. We've gone through hard things before and we have come out on the other side. And I think sometimes in our effort to kind of analyze, we project hopelessness that we just can't afford to pass on to them. So I guess my encouragement for the week is if you can just find two people, two young people, specifically young people, in your sphere. And if you don't have two young people in your sphere, that's your homework, right? Just make sure you're reaching out, listening, having real conversations, and speaking life over them as opposed to doom, gloom, the end of the world, we're not going to survive. They have ideas, they have thoughts. And I think I know I can do a better job of listening to them. And I just want to encourage the whole room to do that.
That's great. Thanks, Denise. Absolutely. And you know what? That
And they
just reminds me.
care. In my neighborhood, they care because my neighborhood is in the process of turning over. And so
Yeah,
there's a whole bunch of people who have kids. And so it's really, all this stuff is really important to them.
yeah. Absolutely. All right, great. It's been really great seeing everybody here. You all give me the gift that I know that I'm not going crazy. That there are other people that believe what I believe. So I really appreciate it, and all the people down below. You are so wonderful and patient, and people who contribute in the chat room. It was good. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same station, and here we go. She would never say where she came from. Yesterday don't matter if it's gone. While the sun is bright or in the darkest night, no one knows. She comes and goes. Goodbye, Ruby Tuesday. Who could hang a name on you when you change with every new day? Still, I'm gonna miss you. Don't question why. From the worldwide headquarters of the Deep State here in Ouagadougou, Burkina Faso, we bid you adieu.